We will not build a wall. Instead, we will build an economy where everyone who wants a good job can get one.
It's the night Hillary Clinton has waited years for as she accepts the Democratic Party's nomination for president, which she told voters tonight.
Well, some new fears over the Zika virus in South Florida are now affecting who can donate blood right here in central Kentucky.
27 years later, police hope new technology could help solve a cold case murder.
This is WKYT News at 11.
Good evening. Rounds of heavy rain drenching much of the state today and even causing some flash flooding.
The weather is calmer tonight, but it looks like even more rain is on the way. We begin tonight with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey on this WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day.
Yeah, what I'm expecting later tonight and through the day tomorrow shouldn't be anything on par with what we had today when many of us were soaked with 2, 3, and maybe some local 4-inch rains out there. But now the ground is waterlogged, so it won't take a whole lot to cause some at least local high water issues. We've been having a couple of showers, dumping very heavy rains into parts of the metro over the past couple of hours. Parts of Franklin County into Woodford County picked up anywhere from a half to 1, with local amounts nearing 1.5 inches just in the past couple of hours into parts of Franklin County. That stuff is winding down now. Defender Radar Network, though, into west central Kentucky with all kinds of showers and thunderstorms that are out there. Some of those are on the strong side, putting down, I know, a ton of rain. We've got a cold front that is still off to our northwest. That's going to make its way toward the region over the next few days. Ahead of that, we're going to see more in the way of some of those showers and thunderstorms. Here's the overnight future radar. Watch what happens. That little complex of storms western Kentucky tries to get into central parts of the region before fizzling out a little bit. Then as we get toward the middle of the day tomorrow, guys, additional rounds of showers and storms will begin to crank it up a notch. We'll take you on this hour-by-hour ride all the way through the coming weekend when I come back in a little better than 10 minutes.
Chris, thank you. Some roads in Montgomery County were closed for part of the day because of flash flooding. Hingston Creek rose out of its banks and nearly reached a machine shop that's nearby. The owner says he has dealt with flooding problems before.
Last year in May or April, we had 5 feet of water in there. 5 feet. Took out everything I had.
The water did not make it into his business today, but he says the nearby area is flood prone. Remember, we can help you track storms with the WKYT Weather Plus Traffic app. You can download it for free in the app or Google Play stores. She told voters she would unite the country in divided times. Tonight, Hillary Clinton made history as she became the first woman to accept a major party's nomination for president.
Hillary Clinton's speech at the Democratic National Convention ended just a few minutes ago. Weijia Jiang has the very latest from Philadelphia. It's tonight's top story.
Hillary Clinton made history in Philadelphia.
I accept your nomination for President of the United States.
She's the first woman to accept a major party's nomination for president.
We will build an economy where everyone who wants a good job can get one.
Clinton drew a contrast with her Republican rival, Donald Trump.
He wants to divide us from the rest of the world and from each other.
Chelsea Clinton, who could become the first daughter for a second time, introduced her mother.
That feeling of being valued and loved, that's what my mom wants for every child.
The Democrats touted this convention as the most diverse and emphasized inclusiveness. The father of an American Muslim army captain who was killed in Afghanistan brought the room to its feet with this question to Trump.
Let me ask you, have you even read the United States Constitution? I will gladly lend you my copy.
Clinton and running mate Tim Kaine have about 100 days to convince voters that they are the ticket of inclusion and hope. Weijia Jiang, CBS News, Philadelphia.
And not much of a break for them. Clinton and Kaine are planning 2 campaign stops tomorrow in the swing state of Pennsylvania.
Tonight, investigators are trying to figure out if a series of Zika virus infections in South Florida were spread by mosquitoes on the U.S. mainland. For now, the Food and Drug Administration has suspended all blood donations in the Miami area, and that's having an effect here in the Bluegrass. Monique Blair explains how the Kentucky Blood Center is reacting.
80% of people who get Zika infections don't even get sick, so I can be perfectly healthy and donate some blood. In the meantime, that Zika virus can be circulating in my bloodstream for about 6-7 days.
The Food and Drug Administration is recommending that all blood centers throughout the country begin temporarily deferring donors who have traveled to Miami-Dade and Broward counties in the last 28 days in an effort to assure the safety of blood and blood products. Martha Osborne with the Kentucky Blood Center tells me the Kentucky Blood Center is following that recommendation.
Well, this is the first time that blood centers will have to ask about travel within the continental United States. Our travel question in the past was always, have you been outside the U.S.? Now it's tell us about your travel.
Osborne says it's common for blood donations to slow down during the summer, and now that it's likely that more donors will have to be temporarily turned away, Osborne says if you do meet the requirements to donate, it's important you do so. Osborne says the FDA made their recommendation out of an abundance of caution, and right now officials have not reported a non-travel related Zika outbreak in Kentucky.
There's not really a high risk to the blood supply, particularly in Kentucky.
In Lexington, Monique Blair, WKYT.
If you have donated blood in the past few days in Kentucky and have traveled to Miami-Dade or Broward counties in the month, you can call the Kentucky Blood Center if you have questions about your blood donation.
It's been a cold case for 27 years, but tonight state police hope some new technology leads to clues in an unsolved murder case. They say that someone found a man's decomposed body in 1989 in a Grant County barn. Police have not been able to identify the victim. Today, they released this digitally enhanced picture, hoping someone recognizes him. New tonight, Garrett Weimer talks to investigators about the case.
Her husband has passed away, and Lois Adams is getting older. But she just can't forget what her husband found April 9th, 1989.
He come in and he said, "There's a dead man down there." And we said, "What?" And of course he was just stunned.
Police say the man was shot in the head, his body partially decomposed, both hands cut off. They believe he was murdered somewhere else, his body dumped in the tobacco barn where Billy Adams found him.
He was laying on his back and this hand was sticking up, this one arm where the hand was cut off.
27 years later, and that barn is still standing. The murder case, though, has gone cold. Police hope new technology will change that. They've released this digitally enhanced photo of the victim, hoping that someone will be able to identify who he was.
This is somebody's child, this is somebody's son, and, it could have been somebody's father, husband or whatever. It's helped identify that subject, help the family, put this to rest, and to actually, catch a murderer.
Lois Adams says they never had locks on their door until that day. A scary discovery still unsolved when her husband died 10 years ago, and still unsolved today.
It bothered him quite a bit. And then we not knowing what happened, and we still don't know what happened.
In Grant County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Police developed the picture thanks to technology from the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. They say they think the man was between 20 and 30 years old, about 6'4", weighing 220 pounds.
He is already Kentucky's longest-serving U.S. Senator, and it looks like Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell wants to extend that run. The Republican was first elected to the Senate in 1984, and he still has 4 years left in his current term. But during a taping of Kentucky Newsmakers today, Bill Bryant asked Senator McConnell if he would run again in 2020.
I'm at the top of my game. I think I've been effective in serving our people, and there's a great likelihood I'll run again.
You can see more of Bill Bryant's interview with Senator McConnell on Kentucky Newsmakers this weekend. It airs Sunday morning at 6 on WKYT and Sunday morning at 10 on the CW Lexington.
A heartbroken Kentucky woman remembering the granddaughter police say was killed and left in a river. The latest on the case in 9 minutes.
And then you probably noticed the construction when you drive by. An update on plans for new development near a busy Lexington intersection.
WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day going to roll on in as we get ready to flip the calendar to Friday. And it may carry us into Saturday as well because the ground is soaked. We've had a ton of rain. We got some more thunderstorms that will come calling over the next few days as well. Not a whole lot out there right now. Defender Radar Network, we've had a lot of action central Kentucky. You talk about some photogenic showers and storms about 2-3 hours ago, right around sunset this evening. Those were looking like mini supercells with the structures on those storms into central Kentucky. Now, they weren't really producing anything like a supercell thunderstorm, but boy, they sure looked the part, didn't they? Just ask my Twitter feed. We look to the west of us, and we see all kinds of showers and thunderstorms ongoing here west of Interstate 65. Western Kentucky, parts of this area picking up over the past few days radar estimates of 6, 7, 8 inches. It's raining again into those areas. We have a front that is out there. Area of low pressure, got another one back across the Plain States. This boundary is going to work its way toward the south and southeast, and in doing so, it'll set up the potential for another shower or thunderstorm. Here's that short-term radar again for the overnight. Tries by early tomorrow morning to fire up a shower or thunderstorm. Then as we get closer to the middle of the day, we'll see some additional showers and storms that will go up. Now, tomorrow's not going to be just like today. All right, you're not going to get this big widespread swath of 1, 2, 3, 4 inches of rain. You're going to have some sun, and then you're going to have some storms that will go up. Not everyone tomorrow will see a heavy downpour producing thunderstorm. A lot of us will. Better chances potentially as we go into the day on Saturday with some locally heavy rains. Into Sunday, storm or two around, still on the humid side. You know the drill by now. Any storm that goes up will contain two things: a lot of lightning and a lot of very heavy rain. Calling card for the storms this summer, a lot of lightning and a lot of heavy rain. I don't see that changing anytime soon. Let's walk you through the next few days. And we always, before we look at the hour by hour that goes out over the course of a couple of days, kind of preface this with saying that computer models do not handle thunderstorms very well. As a matter of fact, they kind of stink with it. But they give you a general idea of what's happening. So through the day tomorrow, you get these little rounds of showers and thunderstorms that will come calling through tomorrow evening. Look what this particular model does during tomorrow, late afternoon into the evening. Fires up a nice little complex of storms here or there. But what happens with that, they have a little feedback issue, the models do. They try to bullseye a thunderstorm here or there, then they lose all sense of reality beyond that. I think that's what's happening as we go into our Saturday on this particular model. Saturday's got a storm system that is making its way across the Ohio Valley with a threat for thunderstorms out there. That would carry us into Saturday evening. And then as we go into the day on Sunday, you know what's going to happen? Pretty much more of the same with some showers and some storms across the entire area. Not going to rain all the time. Today was kind of a washout of a day. Next few days will not be the washout, but the ground is saturated, so a regular run-of-the-mill thunderstorm now can cause maybe some local high water issues. What a crazy wet summer it has been. 4 in a row. August next week. Couldn't tell it by the forecast. Looks a lot like July and, June at that matter, too.
I guess we're sort of used to it by now. We kind of have to be. It's the only thing we know.
4 straight summers where it has been wetter than normal around here with a lot of storms around here. Now, the prior 3 summers were followed by winters that produced above normal snowfall as well.
Stop talking right now.
Is it too early for that?
No.
Huh?
Yes. Thanks, Chris. All right. A man's birthday wish came true, all thanks to a Central Kentucky Police Department. That's in 8 minutes.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
It is a heartbreaking mystery for a Kentucky family. Tonight, police are still trying to figure out who killed a Barron County woman.
Investigators say someone found 22-year-old Kristen Edwards' body inside a tote bag in the Green River, and her family says they can't understand why someone would want to kill her. New tonight, Edwards' grandmother is remembering her. Sabira Rayford has the story.
Sick from tragedy.
I don't know how can anybody do something like that to such a pretty girl.
Linda Pettigo says her granddaughter Kristen Edwards was always there for her.
Beautiful. Oh, she was so pretty. And I'm going to miss her.
Pedigo says Grandma's house was a place where Edwards felt at home.
Oh, Mama, you know I gotta look pretty. I said, well, you don't have to wear all the makeup stuff to make it look pretty.
Edwards would leave sweet notes to let her grandmother know she was thinking about her.
She loved her mama.
Pedigo says it meant something to her because visitors could be rare.
She was fun. I loved having her around.
The love from her granddaughter still etched on her front door.
It felt good having her around. At least I knew someone cared, you know.
When police announced it was Edwards' body found in the Green River earlier this week, it was something Pedigo wasn't prepared for, but something she's been through before. She lost her son when he was 17, just a few years younger than Edwards.
My son died. I felt like it took a piece of my heart out. And I feel like the rest of it's gone.
For now, Pedigo says she will still have her memories.
I love her. We was always hugging. She sat here in my chair beside of it. Always. I said I love her and I miss her.
Sabir Rayford, WKYT.
Family members say Edwards left behind 2 children. Police have not said if they have any suspects in the case. We have some new information tonight about a deadly crash in Whitley County. Investigators have now identified the man killed as 59-year-old James Gambrell of Woolham. State police say Gambrell's coal truck crossed the center line of Highway 92 around 11 this morning and went over an embankment. They say he died at the scene. Police think wet roads and medical condition may have played a role in the crash.
New tonight, the family of a Georgia woman says they're relieved the man convicted of killing her is back in jail. Police arrested Billy Birchfield in Laurel County, Kentucky last month. He was convicted of manslaughter for the 1973 death of his wife, Sue Birchfield, in Georgia. But 6 years later, he escaped from a prison and went on the run. Police say that Billy Birchfield later started using his dead cousin's name and moved to Laurel County. And the victim's family says they thought Birchfield would never be found again.
Because I let it go when I thought he was dead. But then when I found out he was alive, I got mad.
Now, police say a tip from Georgia led them to Birchfield. He's expected to be returned to Georgia soon.
We have an update tonight on the construction of a new development on the corner of Nicholasville Road and Man o' War here in Lexington. The summit at Fritz Farm will include stores, restaurants, apartments, and offices. And developers also want to add a boutique hotel. The summit was originally set to open this fall, but the opening date has now been pushed back to the spring of next year.
When you do a project of this size, you have to be a little flexible. And it became apparent with all of the infrastructure work that we needed to accomplish, it was better to push it to spring of 17.
Developers say they used focus group research to come up with a plan to meet both the wants and needs of the community. We have a list of retailers along with renderings of the finished development on our website. Just go to WKYT.com.
New tonight, the Campbellsville Police Department made a dream come true for a member of their community. Brennan Wheatley has Down syndrome, and family members say for his 23rd birthday, his wish was to become a police officer. So Campbellsville Police made it happen, swearing him in as an officer for the day and even giving him a uniform. He went out with a patrol officer and helped with an arrest during a traffic stop. Officers say they appreciate having Wheatley on the force.
He tells the officers when they go in to eat, I want to come help you.
Wheatley also received a proclamation from Governor Bevin. Good for him. Good for them.
Yeah, he looks really good
Sure.
in that uniform. He's made to wear it. Up next, the Cats coordinators preview the season.
We heard from both Eddie Gran and DJ Elliott today over in Louisville, and of course Gran talked about his quarterback. He has had that title of starter since the end of the spring. Sports is next. Leading up to fall practice, Mark Stoops has been doing most of the talking, but he had his 2 coordinators alongside him today. Stoops appearing at the Greater Louisville Alumni Luncheon with offensive coordinator Eddie Gran and defensive coordinator DJ Elliott. Prior to the luncheon, Gran said he felt it was important for Drew Barker to be named the starting quarterback in the spring.
He had information all summer long where he was out running our practices. He had to do that, and the kids looked to him for that leadership, and he did that, and they were able to continue where we left off in the spring. They were able to continue learning this offense, and I think that's the biggest thing, is that he is the leader and he's the one that has to do what he's supposed to do at that position.
On the defensive side, Kentucky will be looking to fill some holes up front. Alvanti Bell and Courtney Miggins both came in as junior college transfers last season. As it turned out, Miggins played and Bell was redshirted.
Courtney was physically more ready than Alvanti last season, and we were able to get him in the rotation and get him quite a bit of reps during the season last year. And Alvanti, we didn't think was ready physically. So the biggest improvements that we've seen in Alvanti are his strength, his size, his speed, along with a lot of his fundamentals.
Well, Bengals open their Cincinnati training camp tomorrow, and of course they are solid at quarterback with Andy Dalton. And he has a good relationship with the Bengals' new offensive coordinator, Ken Zampese.
I love Andy. I love his family. We've had a great relationship from the time I met him, and that will continue. And we'll get better together. You see him each year make jumps, and I'll make a jump too with him.
Well, high school football season beginning in 3 weeks, and Anderson County is coming off a down year. The Bearcats went through a rash of injuries on the offensive line, so finding depth is a necessity this season. Senior Cade Cotton takes over at quarterback for Mark Peach's team as Anderson County hopes to make a run in the playoffs.
I think our offense is looking really good this year with Cade coming up. Cade's throwing a good ball right now, and we're working really well together on offense, and our line's finally coming together. So I think our offense is really going to be our powerhouse this year.
The challenge for us is going to, I like our depth so far, but continue to develop that depth. Because as we found out last year, you never know when you might have to have not just your first guy, your second guy, your third guy, or your fourth guy ready at a particular position.
Opening round of the PGA Championship, Jimmy Walker putting at number 7. He is the first round leader with a 5 under 65. John Senden did not think this putt was going to drop, but then it did. He had a 68. He's only 3 off the lead. Henrik Stenson, the man who won the Open Championship at Troon, his approach at number 2, and he gets it in nice and tight. Stenson with a 67. He is just 2 shots off that first round lead. But as Jimmy Walker leading the way with a 5 under 65, Martin Keimer among those 1 shot back, Jason Day a 68, Jordan Spieth an even par 70. Not a good day for Rory McIlroy. J.B. Holmes with a 5 over 75. And Josh Teeter shot 62 on the Web.com tour today, but he is 4 shots back. A German shot 58. We'll be right back.
The Late Show with Stephen Colbert is less than a minute away here on WKYT. Tonight's guests include Abby Jacobson and Alana Glazer. I may have gotten that wrong. I'm not sure.
You know what? It's 12:14, Amber.
I'm not sure.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's Friday morning already.
Did better at it than I could have done. We look outside right now. Defender Radar Network showers, thunderstorms, western Kentucky. Watch for a little thunderstorm action to try to pop later tonight, and I think as the day goes on Friday. Regular thunderstorms that can go up on a waterlogged ground. All it can take sometimes now to create some local high water issues into Friday.
You keep watching it closely.
We'll be watching
it.
it. Absolutely.
Thanks so much for staying up extra late with us. We'll see you tomorrow.